For all the glorious introductions, I'm a teacher, and I love being a teacher. So I'm going to start by asking simple quiz questions to see whether you know these songs. You howl so beautifully. Thank you. So I know that you can listen to what I'm playing as well. What about... Excellent. So since you know these songs and since you know how it sounds, you've already had a brilliant Indian classical musician before this. My talk is really focusing on 5 different situations that made me question who I am and brought me into doing certain things, which hopefully has resulted in certain changes for other people. So 5 interesting problems and 5 interesting solutions. So I'll start with problem number 1. So you all see this. This is not an Indian classical instrument. It is not even a Western classical instrument. It's actually a Japanese manufactured instrument. I'm talking about the make of this particular keyboard, right? And growing up in a classical Indian atmosphere, one of the problems that I countered was how do I, who love Indian classical music so much, adapt something like this into playing that. That was the first problem that I encountered. And for that first problem, I came up with a way in which I could use this to play Indian classical music. Now that by itself is not a great innovation. Lots of people before me, lots of people after me continue to innovate in different ways. But what it resulted in is a lot of people after me beginning to actually use the piano, especially in Carnatic classical music, right? So I think you've heard from a Hindustani classical musician who also plays the guitar, who also plays percussion, who also plays keyboard, but this is Carnatic classical music. Even that is not so interesting. I'll give you an example. If you really know this, I really think you're brilliant. Are you really still students in high school? Because you're not supposed to know these songs. They're sort of like grandpapa, grandmama's ka song. Anyway, so the issue was how do you make a livelihood out of it? The issue was how do you make a career out of it? And let's say I made that because that is why grateful governments then decided to give wonderful awards and get me out of the scene. Okay? But that was not the immediate problem. That was not the most important problem. The other problem that I saw is that music does not just remain entertainment for me. It's not just listening for me. It remains something in which I can do something which changes the way I think and behave. So this is all the, yeah. See, when I play, light reflects off of my head. You can see how interesting it looks. Okay? So let's say this is all the past. The past is not so very interesting. Let's come to this. For me, music was not just about listening to it, enjoying it, just to take it as entertainment. Music itself was changing, neurophysiologically changes. I'm using words like neurophysiologically so that you will realize that I have a PhD. Okay? So neurophysiologically it changes who you are and how you react to things. For example, and I can see you as you do this. I didn't even ask you to sing and you started singing. Even singing is fine, but there were some friends of mine in the 3rd and 4th rows who started doing all of this. This was exactly what I was getting at, right? That music doesn't make you just listen to it and just close your eyes and meditate much as we would like people to. It actually makes you do lots and lots of different things. So let me give you a statistic. When a sentence of medium complexity is spoken, it unleashes something like about 300 to 350 neurons, electroneuron transmitters in your brain. When the same sentence of medium complexity is sung or made into music, it's 3,24,000 to 3,25,000 neurotransmitters which are getting activated in your brain. The differential is 1:10,000. because it's making you a very different person, right? So when we know so much is happening, music is connecting different parts of your brain. It's not connecting only the part that is about listening and appreciation. It also controls music, the memory, it controls the part which goes into processing. Why are we restricting it to that? And that led me to create a curriculum wherein I said, here is a classroom, lots of people, you all seem to enjoy music very much. You all seem to sing and dance very much. Clearly it has neuropsychological effects on how you learn. Then how come we are not able to teach a maths or a science or a physics, civics or a history through music, right? Why can't I, instead of doing a plus b the whole square is a square plus b square plus 2ab. If you think this is funny, wait till you see what else I've got. Okay? And if you can convert it into song, right, from a very early developmental age, and this actually has science attached to it, then learning automatically improves. So I created the first initiative, which is called Rhapsody, which actually takes music, but uses music to teach math, science, and everything else, especially for chote bacche, right? One of the other big things that for me in India matters a lot is that we need to do something what I call an equitable classroom, right? You children are very privileged. You have people like Deepak ji. You have people like Amrita ji. You have wonderful teachers here. That privilege is not there for all of India, right? So this actually works. In fact, probably you've heard from Punita ji earlier as well, that there's a huge population in India which does not have access to all of this wonderful stuff. So in fact, we work very closely with children who come not from private schools, but from schools run by the government and Corporation of Cities. We have now reached a very small number of 5,35,000 kids through this particular curriculum wherein we use music to teach other subjects. So this is all these people who have gotten involved. I think you all recognize this person, right? Yeah. Big prize for recognizing. Okay. But is that enough? What is the third problem that made me change the way I look at things? So all of this was wonderful. We live in a country where we have natural disasters, man-made disasters, and naturally man-made disasters. And in that scenario, in Chennai, where I'm from, when we had floods in the year 2015, and so many people lost their homes, one of the things that happened is that a lot of schools were completely wiped away. The Chennai Corporation got in touch with me and said, since you're already working with this, can you do something? Aap concerts baja sakte hain. From that, maybe we can create some awareness because we don't have funds. So one of the things that we started looking at is music does not have to remain only neurophysiological and educational, but music can actually become something for a cause. And at that point, I'm going to play one more song. You're again doing it, right? I did not ask you to sing. I just played it and you're doing, okay, and very much in swar, right? So music was once again put to the cause of trying to help other people. So we did about 16 concerts, we raised money, and we built a school, right? Why I am saying this is important, yeah, you can clap. But why I'm saying this is important is not so much that I built a school, right? Why I'm saying this is important is that there are problems facing us every day, okay? From the time you get up to the time you get to school to the time you go back, there are problems facing you every day. But what are you doing about those problems, right? So the language that I know is music, and I've used the language of music to keep creating solutions wherever I can see it. So this helped create a solution. Can Sunbeam, Lahartara, and Varuna get together and create a band that creates awareness about civic consciousness and create change? That's an idea I'm leaving with you, right? Let's look at the next problem, right? The next problem that this is not so music related, musician related. In 2021, we all had this wonderful thing called the pandemic. You all remember that when we did Zoom classes, where we used to dress up only waist upwards? It's a very important time in our lives, right? Also, we all learned how to disable audio and disable video and still mark attendance. Very important time in life. Teachers, students, both. Right? At that time, right, not to put too fine a point on it, I nearly died. Okay? Not for COVID. I'm a very unique person. Just as your friend introduced me in the beginning, I'm a very unique person. So when everybody else was having COVID, I had some other problem, right? And at the time of COVID, where we were not getting hospital beds, a very dear childhood friend of mine who was a doctor got me a bed in a maternity ward. So there were 3 ladies about to give birth, and there was me. Now, of course, it sounds funny now, but I was very seriously ill. As I said, I nearly died. And at that time, I was treated by 2 doctors. One doctor was that childhood friend who got me the bed. So every day he would come in, hold my hand and say, Anil, nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to be fine. You're a good man. You've done good work. You built school and all. Bhagwan will take care of you. The founder of the hospital's name was Bhagwan. But there was another doctor who was a specialist. Now I want to tell you about these specialists. This specialist had Harvard ka degree, Edinburgh ka FRCS, all kinds of papers to his credit, patent, ye, wo. His entire wall is full of certificates with gold frames. Okay? But that man will come in every day. First, actually, his perfume will come first, then he will come next. Right? And you know that this is a special person, because the moment he's coming, all the nurses will stand in attention, and everybody's like, sir is coming, sir is coming, sir is coming. And then this man will come in. But he would never look at me to the face. He would just look at my blood test reports. The first time he looked at my blood test report, he didn't even look in my face. He just said, these are end of life numbers. Isko hata do. Right? Yes, there are people who behave like this, despite Harvard and Edinburgh and everything. Right? I thought I misheard him. Right? Because I constantly, I'm all the time so fond of my own voice that I usually don't listen to what somebody else is saying. So I thought maybe I just misheard. He must have said something else. But it turns out the second time he came, second day, he said the same thing. He said, I already said this guy is at end of life. Why is he still here? Take him home. So this time, I caught hold of his hand and I said, doctor, I want you to do me a favor. And he said, what do you want? I said, please never come back into this room again. Right? And being Indian and hyper-educated and hyper-decorated, obviously he got very angry. Right? And he said, do you know medicine or do I? Let us just say that I did not want to tell you what answer I gave, but I have great news. I didn't die. So it turns out that I was right in the end. But that gave me the idea for the next initiative that for me was very important, is that all of India, right? We have millions and millions and millions. You all know the numbers better than me. At the moment, just the youth are more than 300 million in this country, right? Out of 300 million, it is still only 30 or 40,000 who have access to the best ideas, the best people, the best theoreticians, the best concepts, the best universities, whatever you want to call it, right? Some of you are among that privileged 30,000, but the whole of the country is not. And my thing was, my good friend Vivek, who actually deserved to have that kind of decoration bestowed on him, doesn't have it just because he didn't have the chance to go to a Harvard or an Edinburgh or wherever else. But somebody who studied only India, we tend to think is a little less. So I said, why don't we change this? So let me challenge this man and not die. Instead, I sat in a hospital bed with a computer with, also please remember everybody, I'm from South India and I love mathematics, which means that I'm a techie by birth. Okay? So I designed a platform where I said all the top professors in the world, I'm a professor, the best universities, the best ideas, the best innovations that are happening should come directly to all of the children in India. It does not matter which economic background you come from. Where you have children from wealthy households, you should also have children who are not so wealthy. They should be able to access the best ideas. So today, we have professors from Harvard and Stanford and IIT and wherever else directly giving research projects to children across the length and breadth of the country. One thing I discovered is that 37,334 is the total number of professors in the United States who are Indian. Okay? Why can't they come back to our children? And that was the next initiative, and that was CREW. One more time, a problem where I nearly died, one more solution happened, right? Thanks to this, it's not only children like yourselves, but children from some of the poorest neighborhoods in India who are actually doing projects with IIT Madras, doing projects with IIT BHU, and so on and so forth, and a lot of innovation has come. And now I'm going to leave you with, I have 1 minute and 27 seconds left, and I'm going to leave you with the last problem. So I spoke to you about all the things that music has helped me do. I spoke to you about all the things that made me do from a hospital bed, but I don't think we are still solving for this child. Every time I see a photograph like this, I leave you with the question, what are we doing to solve for this child? All of the innovations that we do, all of the wonderful things that we do, when you are confronted with a problem that you are outraged by, what are you doing? What are you willing to do for it? Right? When you are given a situation which presents itself as a problem, how do you find a solution? And that is what I leave you with. I am here just to share my experiences and the brilliance of humanity with you. Every time you are confronted with a problem, what do you do to solve for it? Remember that a group that claps together will stay together, and a group that stays together will change the world. Thank you very much.